So welcome Miracles with a Twist family and friends. I'm Reverend Lori Cardona. I'm here with Reverend Lisa Benton, who I affectionately refer to as Goddi Lisa. We are here today to present Mystic Conversations, which is the twist to a twist, because on the first Thursday of every month, I present an interfaith perspective on A Course in Miracles, which we call Miracles with a Twist. And then on the third Thursday, Goddi Lisa joins me to present a mystic that she has studied, that she integrates into her studies with A Course in Miracles. And so we're going to be hearing that today, and we begin together by joining heart to heart, soul to soul, and we do this by taking a nice deep breath together. We exhale, feel our heartbeats. And with this heartbeat, we recognize that we are one brotherhood, sisterhood, united spiritual family. That everyone we meet today gives us the potential reminder of our opportunity to be a blessing, to extend blessings, to receive blessings, to give thanks, to be in awe. We see the world and all of its circumstances as our scripture and our prayer list. And we rise to the occasion of being prayerful, of praying harder, rising higher, forgiving steadily and loving readily. And for this opportunity to be joined together today and to walk in the world as loving, compassionate instruments of peace, may it be so. We give thanks. Another nice deep breath together. We exhale into this moment. Hi, Goddi Lisa.
Hello, Revlo. My favorite day.
Happy Mystics Conversation Day.
Same to you. I love the third Thursday of every month. And I just love the mystics, and I love this opportunity that we have to share, because the mystics teach us so much. And while I don't feel that it's my thing to tell people how to think about mystics or whatever, it's to just share, introduce a mystic, and hopefully somebody will resonate. Something will resonate, because these people are so profound and just so amazing. And because we do this from an interfaith perspective, it's very important, and different spiritualities have different types of people that they call mystics. You and I have come up with our own definition for the sake of keeping us focused in our discussions of what our mystic that we're talking about. So I'd like to just share that definition with everyone. We believe that a mystic is someone who finds themselves in an ecstatic state of spiritual consciousness and connection to the divine. They come in all walks of life and are religious backgrounds, and sometimes no religion at all. We also believe that a mystic is someone who seeks this divine connection on a regular basis and aspect of their life. Mm-hmm. And these people that we talk about do that.
Yes, yes. So, we strive to have even just a few of those moments, those ecstatic states. A Course in Miracles calls them holy instants.
Exactly.
Completely connected and aware, and suddenly we have these ahas. Yeah, that's it. You know, and we can sort of step away from our ego self of fear and judgment and be in that state of ecstatic connection, that holy instant. And so I look forward to today's discussion.
Well, today we are going to be talking about a very interesting little young person, Mirabai, who started out as a young person, and to me started out as a mystic, and to me understood that she was a mystic. She was born in the late 15th century, passed in the early 16th century, but nothing was written about her until about the 17th century. So we have a lot of stories going on about Mirabai, and we'll find her name, spelling, pronunciation, all that kind of stuff is scattered. She is Hindu. She is a Hindu poet, princess, raised in a very affluent environment, and she is just an amazing person. And so I'll begin with her at around the age of 3. Her dad was given a doll by a wandering sage, had come by the home and gave a doll of Lord Krishna to her father. And she immediately was drawn to the doll, and not like a young little girl is drawn to her Barbie and they start playing house and all that. There was a connection where she knew, as a little girl, that this doll was far beyond any doll. In fact, her father wanted to keep the doll and hold it for her until she was old enough to respect it. It was Lord Krishna, and she refused to eat until her father gave her the doll to have with her every moment. And this doll was her everything, her BFF, her peace, her joy, everything. So one day she actually fell in love with Krishna, as I understand it, on every level. Not just, oh my goodness, my little dolly, or oh, this is a really cool guy. There was something about her at this very young age. So anyway, she and her mom one day were watching a wedding parade go by, and she says, "Mama, who am I going to marry when I grow up?" And her mother said, "Of course, you're already married to Krishna." And so Mirabai was like, okay, made sense to her. And her mom understood that Mirabai, there was something very unique about Mirabai, very special, very spiritual. But her mom passed away at a very young age. Mirabai was young and raised by her father, who arranged for her to be married, even though she was already married. And she was arranged to be married into an affluent family, as they did way back then. And she obediently did what her father said, and married this man. But she would, in the evenings and during the day, write this love poetry and go into trances and ecstatic dancing and all this all the time. Worshiping and honoring and loving and sharing with Krishna. Well, her husband got a little tired of it, and he told her that she needed to go kill herself, that she was to go into a river and drown. Well, again, being, as I understand it, of this world, but not in this world, but not of it, she goes into the water, fully expecting to drown herself. Krishna appeared to her and said, "No, it's not your time. I want you to go here. Take a few of your friends, go and do what you have been doing," which was teaching, writing poetry, and going into the ecstatic states. So she did. And she developed quite a following. And she ended up, her father had become, in the meantime, with her marriage being kind of on the rocks, her father wasn't real happy with her, but her father ended up, one of her followers, as a matter of fact, was her father's arch enemy. And so he kind of dismissed her. Well, with all that was going on, and word of mouth at that time was coming around to him, he realized his daughter was this saint, this divine being. And he says, "Come home and come back to our town." And so she did. And so her in-laws, were not real happy with her being around, because they didn't particularly care for her ways. And so they did not treat her well. And ultimately, her father, or her husband, died. And so the in-laws were like, this is great. Now she's ours to just get rid of completely, you know? So they told her that her father-in-law told her, you have to throw yourself on your husband's funeral pyre, our son's funeral pyre. You have to commit suicide. And here she is, suicide again, you know? So I'm thinking, oh no, she's going to do it again. Yeah. So she goes, no, my husband, Lord Krishna, is not dead. I'm not throwing myself on this man's funeral pyre. So this enraged her in-laws, and they decided, we've got to get rid of her. We've just got to get rid of her. They tortured her, literally tortured her, starved her. They tried a couple of times to poison her with drinks, poison her with a snake. She went through all of this for years without any pain, suffering, and in the midst of it all continued to write poetry, to dance and go into ecstatic states and trances and all this. And she just kept going and going. And what was happening around her, to me, as I understood it, was that's not where she was. She was with Krishna. And so it as no one was there when she passed, she was in a temple praying and dancing and trancing, and Krishna appeared, and he opened his heart. She shed her body, and she entered into complete and total Krishna consciousness. And that's how we say goodbye to Mirabai. Well, this may sound like a really kind of kooky little weird story, but to me, I was reminded of a story that I've heard, and there's questions whether or not it really happened or whatever, but it's an interesting little story. And this couple had a little toddler, and then they had a new baby, and they had put the little new baby to bed in the crib, and in the middle of the night, they hear the toddler toddling around and going into the baby's room. So they get up and they go, and they're standing at the doorway, and the little toddler is saying to the baby, please tell me about it. I'm beginning to forget. And I just thought, that's Mirabai. This is a child that came into this world, as we talk about all the time, passing through for this human experience, this spiritual being having a human experience, never embracing the physical aspects of being human. So all this crazy and wild stuff that could have killed anybody else or driven them insane or whatever, to her, she just kept on loving and being joyful. And so that's our Mirabai. And I encourage anybody and everybody to just give her a little peek, you know, because the stories are interesting. And it's just, I just thought it was beautiful to hear this story about this little girl who never latched on to the world.
I think it's a great overall example and reminder of being in the world, but not of the world. I mean, she certainly was not of the world. So thank you so much for that introduction of her. And we'll put a link in the comments of some link of some sort
Sure.
that further explore her story. And the story of the little kids, it's so true. It reminds me of Paramahansa Yogananda, who, you know, I love and since the 80s, Self-Realization Fellowship. When I first read Autobiography of Yogi, that's actually what I was looking down for, because I have it on Kindle. I was going to try and pull up a quote, but I think I can remember it. It reminds me of something that he said, that when he was writing about his childhood, he said, I remember the humiliation of infancy. Because I couldn't talk and I couldn't walk, and I knew that I could, but in this limitation of the moment of this part of my life. And he said, he referred to yogis, but we can say mystics are aware that this transition through life and death and circumstances is not all that we are. It's not all that there is. It's not the reality as we call it, you know, this level of time and space. You know, it's not the ultimate reality, which is level of the infinite and our divine self. And so we're always reminded of that through these mystics that you introduce us to. And Mirabai is, because somebody said her marriage is on the rocks. I'd say so. Her husband, whatever. That sounds like a rocky marriage to me. But you know, that no matter what happened, she just, you know, she kept having her beautiful love of Krishna, and that was where her mind and her heart and her soul was focused. And from Yogananda, also a Hindu who believed in Christ consciousness, and he actually spoke of Christ consciousness in Autobiography of a Yogi, as well as all his teachings. And so we can think of Christ consciousness as being a non-dogmatic, non-faith-based in terms of religion, but of an aspiration, of way of being, a way of moving through the world with the desire to have those holy instants and those ecstatic states, as we mentioned earlier, when you defined what is a mystic and how do we incorporate that into our life. And you posted a quote that I fell in love with. And I said, this is going to be my mantra, which I will not break faith with my awakened heart, which was a quote by Jim
Finley
was a student and a devotee and directee of Thomas Merton. And I love that quote. And I thought, I want to apply that to circumstances in my life where fear, judgment, or expectations creep in to have me react or even interact in a way that is expressing my ego-based fears, judgments, and expectations, as opposed to expressing my awakened heart. I will not break faith with my awakened heart. Thank you for that quote. And he's also a mystic. He modern day mystic, and he also teaches mysticism. So all of this together, as we speak of the mystics, reminds us that A Course in Miracles is also a mystic study. Now, there are a lot of religions that have mystic aspects to them, like Islam has Sufism, Judaism has Kabbalah, you know, there's the Vedanta is Hindu mysticism. So we have all these reminders that, yes, the foundation of our religion helps us get some sort of grounded connection, maybe to our ethnicity, our demographics, where we're born, and the culture of that area. But mysticism helps us to just be free to express our connection to the divine. And we can call it Krishna, we can call it Jesus, we can go to Buddha, we can go to Father Abraham, Mother Mary. It's not about what we call it, because the spirit world is not concerned with names. You know, they're not even concerned with our name. My name is Lori, your name is Lisa, but together we are beloved. That's real. That's the name they call us, and that's who we are. And because we are one beloved family of the beloved, the ultimate higher source. And so what happened? Why do we get so ego-based, fear-based? And you know, sometimes we use ego in a way that we think that's a bad thing, but it's really almost like a childlike thing. You know, it's the part of us that is fearful and reacting from subconscious memories and messages. So in A Course in Miracles, in the text, chapter 27, there's a section that tells us what happened. What happened? Why did this happen? So it tells us. This is actually called the healing of the dream, is the chapter's name, but the section is the hero of the dream. So it says to us, let us return the dream away onto the dreamer, who perceives the dream as separate. Where all is one, there crept a tiny mad idea, where the Son of God forgot to laugh. So it's basically telling us that all of this is sort of like a celestial joke, you know? And it's not that we want to laugh at circumstances that may seem difficult, that may seem harsh in this time and space, but we want to also not get too attached to it, so that we remember that this is not all there is. We want to move through it as the light bearers, as the peacemakers, because we are needed. In A Course in Miracles, it says time and time again, you are needed. We need you now. This is the time of a grand awakening. We need the light. We need the love. And so, as well, why am I in a circumstance right now where people are arguing? Let's say you go somewhere and the tension is high, and you find yourself wanting to become a part of it. Somebody's telling you about somebody else's bad behavior, and you start to be drawn to it, and you think, how can I bring light to this situation? Well, it's not about standing on a box and preaching. It's about allowing yourself to be self-aware and not to engage, and to say instead, even if it's just a moment in time where you say to yourself, I will not break faith with my awakened heart. I will not break faith with my awakened heart. And so sometimes the best we can do is not to engage in negativity. Keep a little more quiet, and maybe even have like an inner prayer, and to remind ourselves that we take everything seriously. This separation from the divine occurred because we forgot to have lightened selves. You know what they say about angels? Don't take themselves seriously. That's why they can fly. It's that whole thing of just how can we bring a lightness of being into the world? So again, from that same chapter, it says even here, the gentle laughter of the Holy Spirit. So just imagine when we have children who are really, really serious about something, because they're really upset, so-and-so called me a name, and they're really upset. And like you want to soothe them, but your insides know that this is not really that serious, and so you approach them understanding that that's where you are right now. And so we soothe them, but we don't, let's get away from those days where we go back and punch them. It's more like teaching them love, teaching them a lightness of their own selves, teaching them how grand they are, how wonderful they are, how they are going to see themselves one day and know what it is that they're capable of and what the potential is within themselves. Because all of us have those days where the stress is we talked about stress earlier before we got started, and how do we manage it without making it other people's responsibilities or bringing grumpiness or anger or upset into the world and adding to that negative energy. So we want to remember that if we forget to laugh, if we forget to have a lightness, if we forget to be more like Mirabai, who was like, oh yeah, you want to kill me? Well, I have a poem to write. I got a poem to write. I've got a song to sing. I've got a dance to dance. What if we were more like that? Like how much more lightness of being we each would have, because in the end we can't really control anyone's behavior. There's not a lot that we can do around what is happening out there, so we can only do we can only take responsibility for what's happening in here. And sometimes it just takes a little bit of a break so that we can relax, do what we need to do to relax, and then reset ourselves. It's not easy being in the human experience. And so we have to remember that that's not all we have. We have this celestial experience, and the divine source, whatever it is, there's more and more coming out. We're hearing more mystic studies. We're hearing more messages that have the consistency of the Course's message, that this is not all there is, that our best self shows up when we remember that, when we connect to the divine, when we say that I am not truly separated from anything or anyone. I am a part of what might possibly make the world a better place by bringing light, by bringing love, by refraining from reactivity that could possibly be hurtful or that expresses my judgment of something that need not be judged. It's not my place. It's not right. My place. So in A Course in Miracles, it says that the world is but a demonstration of an ancient truth, and you will believe what you think. You will believe what you think. So as long as we're believing anything that has to do with the justification of our upset, then that's where we're going to focus. But if we believe in Mirabai, if we believe in our brother Jesus, who tells us that I am with you no matter what, take my hand, let me lead you, let me show you that while you're in this movement towards your ego, that there's another place to look, there's another way of seeing. I can see peace instead of this.
Yes.
One of our most repeated messages of A Course in Miracles. I can see peace instead of this. And do I want to? Do I want to see peace? That's a question. If we're not seeing peace because we ourselves want to be in the upset and in the argument, then that's a choice. That's not to say that there's things out there that don't look peaceful, but we don't want to add to the upset. You know, there's things every day. You know, it's all our prayer list. You know, the wars and the upsets and the accidents and, you know, the things that happen in this world that give us in our worldly experience sadness and upset become our prayer list. Put it in the prayer box, put it in your heart, send out the prayer. I have a friend who's putting her dog down today, and I know she's really sad. So what can we do to lighten the burden? Just be there. I actually called and said, I'm just going to sit in silence with you. I just want you to know that I'm here. And she said, okay, because I really don't have anything to say. So we just sat in silence for a little while. I mean, sometimes that's all you can do. Just let somebody know you're present. Light a candle, you know, say a prayer. And so for us to remember that we are in this world so that we can bring light to the areas where there's darkness, and to remember that some of that darkness is within ourselves as well. And so we give honor to all these mystics, and we strive to be more like them. And we can use just little simple adjustments in the course of the day. You know, I might have a day where I'm really grumpy and it's like, oh, I'm so frustrated. And I think, well, I don't know, maybe if I have a cookie, you know, maybe if I have a cookie, sing a song. I mean, you know, from seminary, you know, just I could be in a mood, and you students were just subtly in your emotional manipulation by saying, hey, let's give Dean Laurie a cookie. Oh, what the bakery, we got a black and white cookie. And I was like, oh, you know, I mean, it's interesting how little things can adjust our mood or our perspective, you know. But what is bringing somebody a cookie? That's a show of love. That's a show, not really emotional manipulation, or was it? I don't know. Either way, I took
benefited everybody. And that's good.
And that's right. That's ultimately what we want to be, a benefit to everyone, regardless of how we get there. So thank you so much for this message today. And we continue moving forward with our studies in A Course in Miracles with some of those lessons. Even if you're not reading the daily lesson, you can remember that there were some that just come out of the pages and speak to you. Let those be a part of the integration of your earthly world with your spiritual world. So today my suggestion is, I can see peace instead of this. And when you feel separated from everyone and everything, just remember it was a tiny mad idea when the Son of God forgot to laugh. So before we go into the wrap up, is there anything you wanted to say about anything?
I just wanted to say that it was just so wonderful listening to you, because this is why I love the mystics, because it brings out all stuff. Will resonate. It will resonate with everyone, whoever they're reading. Something will resonate, and then that resonates again when you talk about A Course in Miracles and the correlation. You had said, and I was thinking of this, that when with Krishna consciousness, Buddha consciousness, Jesus consciousness, whatever, people can hear that as isolated, separate things, but they are, as you so beautifully said, it's all what it is. It's all divine. It's all who we are. We are all. You're Lori. I'm Lisa. We're both perfect divine children. You know, we're beloved. And so thank you so much. It was just wonderful, because it reinforces my love and my desire to learn from the mystics, and to continue my studies in A Course in Miracles, and to take on what I think is very important for us in particular, as this podcast, is that it's from an interfaith perspective. So we're not hanging on to any one thought. Although we find ourselves, the thoughts are all the same. It's not new thought. It's old thought that has come together in many new ways. And so thank you so much for that.
You're welcome. And as we saw today, it's ancient. It's antiquity. And so to remind everyone, Miracles with a Twist is on the first and third Thursday of every month, with the first Thursday being Interfaith perspective on A Course in Miracles, and the third Thursday be Mystic Conversations. So the next one, we're going to Rumi, and a lot of folks are familiar with Rumi, but there may be some new information and some amazing reminders. And that's going to be Thursday, May 16th. That's the third Thursday in May. Thursday, May 16th, Rumi. And and in terms of LMC Interfaith Ministries, we have the full moon gathering taking place here in Lauderdale by the Sea, and if anybody is in the Southeast Florida area. And we meet on Wednesday, April 24th. That's this Wednesday coming, depending on when you see this. So it's Wednesday, April 24th, 2024. And we also have, and this is really an amazing spiritual enrichment program we're going to be providing on Saturday, April 27th. Sacred Journey Interfaith Seminary will be presenting the Sacred Journey to Forgiveness. And that's Saturday, April 27th at 3 o'clock. And if anyone is interested in that, just find your way to me. I have an Eventbrite link and you can sign up before we get full. So that is the dates and times of everything that's coming up. As far as this particular podcast video, we're going to have in our comment section, we're going to have links to more information so you can learn more about Mirabai, and we'll have a cover picture of her so you can see how she was portrayed back in the 15th century. So thank you all so much for your interest, your support, and for your presence. And I would ask Goddi Lisa to please end our time together with a prayer.
Okay. I really was looking to find something that I could use that Mirabai had written, but there's a lot of Hindu terminology or words that we don't have words for, and I didn't want to get involved in translating and so forth. So I found this beautiful prayer that is a Hindu prayer, and I would like to do that in honor of our gathering and, of course, of Mirabai. And it's, I desire neither earthly kingdom nor even freedom from birth and death. I desire only the deliverance from grief of all those afflicted by misery. O Lord, lead us from the unreal to the real, from the darkness to the light, from death to immortality. May there be peace in celestial regions. May there be peace on earth. May the waters be appeasing. May herbs be wholesome, and may trees and plants bring peace to all. May all beneficent beings bring peace to us. May your wisdom spread peace all through the world. May all things be a source of peace to all and to me. And I will end with the Sanskrit Om Shanti Shanti Shanti, which is the call of the world. Om, the sound of the divine universe. Shanti is peace. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Thank you so much. What a beautiful. I look forward to seeing that in the comments so I can pray it over and over again. Thank you so much, Goddi Lisa.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll see you on May 16th. God bless you.
God bless you.